Amador County's #1 news and sports leader, TSPN. First up on Amador This Week is Let's Talk with your host, Larry Cenotto.
Thank you for joining us on Let's Talk. This week's program is about the Jackson Indian Bingo Casino and our guest, Margaret Dalton. A program we've been looking forward to for a long time because I don't want to say all of a sudden, but if you weren't paying attention, you know, really, all of a sudden, I mean, the Jackson Indian Bingo is really a major player in this county, and there's probably a lot of folks who don't know an awful lot about it or Margaret, so that's what the program's going to be all about. Thank you very much.
Thank you
for joining us on the program. You and I have been friendly acquaintances, I guess we could say, for quite a while.
Many years.
Many years. Our children went to Jackson High School together for quite a while.
That's when it was Jackson High School.
When it was Jackson High School, yeah. You've been ill recently. What's the problem?
I think I'm getting old.
Aren't we?
Yes. I think it's just age. Nothing major. Nothing major. Nothing I can't combat.
We had to put the program a couple of times because you weren't feeling too well. I'm glad, anyway.
I appreciate you re-inviting me.
To be on the program. Let's talk about the Daltons first.
Okay.
Your family, your late husband. Tell us about the Daltons.
Well, this Dalton became so in 1956 when I married Mr. Earl Dalton, who's always been a resident of the Jackson Rancheria. That's his home.
So he was a native.
He's a native of the Jackson Rancheria.
Okay.
We have 4 sons. We raised 4 other children there on the reservation. Sent them through the Jackson community system, school system, excuse me. And that's about it. My husband was killed in 1980 in an industrial accident. And lucky for me that my children were grown before I had to lose him. But all my sons are on the Rancheria. They all work there.
Who are they?
That's Earl, Dennis, Robert, and Adam.
And the other children that you...
The other children are the Marks children, my half-brothers and sister, Clarence Marks, Irvin Marks, Gary Marks, and Donna McKean.
So the Dalton line has been living on the Rancheria for how long? Have you any idea?
My husband was born in 1934, and he's been there majority of the time since then, until he had to go into the Army and out again.
So the Daltons, that's been the home for,
that is
for
Dalton
well over
place.
60 years, I
Yes.
guess. When we talk about the Rancheria, what are we talking about? How big what is a Rancheria?
Rancheria reservation was provided for the homeless Indians of California, and in this particular case, it was done for the people who owned the land before the white man came on, and they put them on reservations. And this is where my husband's family ended up. My husband's main home, his ancestral homeland is above Volcano. And from there they moved him down here to Jackson because they needed to send the children to school and to teach them the white man ways.
Any idea how old that reservation or Rancheria is?
I believe in the late 1800s it was established.
Because I
don't know an exact date.
Yeah, as a local historian, I'm aware that on the 1866 county map that shows the Rancheria at its location on New York Ranch Road. So
okay.
I think there was an Indian commissioner whose name escapes me right now, but I think the state was created in 50, and I think by 51 the federal Indian commissioner was out in this area, and perhaps they were setting up those, maybe those reservations at that time. What is a Miwok Indian?
What is a Miwok Indian? Miwok means people.
Is that a white man's name given to Indians, or is that the Indian's own name?
Miwok means Indian people.
All right, so it's an Indian name, Miwok.
Yes, I call the Navajo, the Cheyenne, everybody, they're Miwok to me. One person is Miwok. Miwok is the plural of all Indian people.
Okay. Are you full-blooded Miwok?
No, I am not. I am half.
You're half.
My mother was full-blood. My father was white.
How about Earl?
Earl, he was Navajo and Miwok.
Yeah. These days, various laws, what constitutes How much blood do you need to be constituted an Indian these days? Miwok Indian.
According to the Bureau of Indian Affairs, it's 1/4. According to my tribal government, it's we don't have a blood quantum. We only go lineal descendants from a certain date.
What is the date?
Our rolls are closed now, so the date, I think it began in about 1980, when we put these regulations out for our government.
Yeah.
That doesn't pertain to all governments. Every tribal government has their own laws, their own constitutions.
All right. When we talk about a band, what are we talking about?
We are talking about a small group of the Miwok Nation.
How big is your
We are
band?
only a small group. We have 18 voting members and about 40 people in all that our government is responsible for on our reservation. And meaning the kids 18 and under 18 and the non-Indian spouses.
Do they all live on the reservation?
Yes.
All 40?
Well, I have 2 living off.
So basically, they're all.
I brought them all home.
Are there lots of people anxious to join the band these days since you're successful?
Of course it is. It's become very fashionable to be an Indian these days, especially in, I get phone calls all the time, people trying to claim rights to the Jackson Rancheria because of the casino.
What kind of land is it out there?
Not good land. All hills, rocks. We tried for many years to get some kind of economic development going for our people. It's just not feasible land for anything.
What was it like? How did you live when you first were married and had the children out there? What were the conditions?
Below poverty level. When my husband and I first got married in '56, we built a little house ourselves. And we had no running water, no electricity, no passable roads. And it took us a long time to get anything from the Bureau of Indian Affairs. We formalized the government in 1979, and I became tribal chairperson in 1979. Then I went to work on trying to get help for the people that were there at the time. That was the Earl Dalton family, the Richard Kessler family. I finally did succeed in getting a home apiece for them. I also got a mobile home unit for my husband's mother. And after that, nothing. I applied for HUD through HUD and got turned down. So I couldn't get any assistance from the Bureau of Indian Affairs through HUD. I couldn't get any assistance because there was just not enough of us to justify the cost of bringing anything to us. So this is why we're in the casino business today.
Did you explore any of the possibilities? You sought some way to use the rancheria, you know.
Yes, we did. I believe in about, maybe 1970 or so, we had the Department of Agriculture come out and help us to try to test the weather. Maybe we could get some grape vineyards in on the sides of the mountains or something. And nothing was good for anything. So there he was again, stuck in a hole. And if I might say so, I think that's where the federal government wanted us to stay.
All right, so where did the idea come to have Indian bingo there?
Well, like I tell you, my husband got killed in 1980, but I wasn't going to give up our dream of finding economic development for our people.
Using your land.
Using the land. So I believe it was about maybe 1981 or 82, I read a story about the Seminole Indians in Florida, and they have this prosperous bingo hall. So I said, well, why can't I do that? So I talked with the Bureau of Indian Affairs and told them what I was planning to do. I don't really think they believed me, but I knew I was within my rights to do it, so I broke ground.
Why do you say that? Because the Seminoles were doing it?
Because there was no rules and regulations against it. They had no regulations against this.
Usually in this country, the law is that you can't do anything until there's some law that says that you can. So this is kind of interesting. You're saying that because there wasn't a law opposing it, you thought it was all right to do it.
Yeah, we're on an Indian reservation here. We're within our own little nations. And we make the laws, our constitution, bylaws. We do all this ourselves.
Right. So you had the example of the Seminoles. Was there any example in California that you can recall at that time?
I didn't know of any at that time. I know I was the first one in Northern California, but I did not know of any others. There's a couple that lay claim to be in the first. It doesn't matter to me, but I didn't know it at the time.
All right. You somehow let it be known that you were interested in starting a bingo operation on the property there. And I presume once that idea gets out, there are investors or exploiters or whatever that are, oh boy, here's a chance. You didn't have any money, you had 330 acres, you had an idea.
That's right.
How did you make it work?
Well, it was very difficult because I am not a business person. I am not well educated. I did not know what to do, so I had some friends help me. Of course, I had the undesirables come out of the woodwork.
Was the Bureau of Indian Affairs involved in any of this? In getting it started?
I couldn't get any assistance from anywhere. So I got an investor in, and we got an attorney, and the attorney helped us get some things set up. I couldn't even get the Bureau of Indian Affairs to check backgrounds for me. We gave them the names and everything to go through the FBI to check backgrounds, but they never did assist me in any way. So I just went ahead and did the business. When we did finally get a background check on our investors and found out that they were crooks or had crooked dealings, then I had to ask them to please kindly leave the premises, leave the county.
Let's go back a little bit, when did you break ground, or when did the bingo operation start?
You know, at this particular point, I can't remember, it was 1983 or 84 when we broke ground. I believe it was 1983.
And you built, how big a building to start off?
We built 100 by 200 hall. I think we had, what square footage is that? Don't ask me square footage.
That's all right. 20,000 square feet. Maybe.
Yeah, okay. But anyway, that's what we started with.
Oh, God.
And we only had bingo to offer.
Why was that? That's all you thought you could do at the time?
That's all we could do at the time. About 1991 or early 92 is when we brought the video machines in.
All right. You said you couldn't check the background that well of the first investors. Anyway, what happened? You were in operation for how long, and you closed down?
We closed. We probably started in about 84. We opened and closed four different times.
I can remember a couple. I didn't realize it was four. Yeah.
Now, they weren't all due to mismanagement or anything. It was just that the people misrepresented themselves, didn't have the funds to continue on. Because bingo is really not a lucrative business when you have to pay all your overhead. The charity people, bingos can do it, but when you have to pay for your help, you cannot survive on bingo, given away the high stakes that we do.
Yeah. So you closed several times, and I guess some investors lost some money, but you guys really didn't have any money in it. You just had the facilities.
Right. That's right.
You
everybody comes in knowing that whatever they put on there, they cannot remove. Okay, they know that.
Right.
They know that up front.
Okay. What was the formula that, you finally succeeded? What did you do that you hadn't done before?
Well, I found the right person to work with, an honest person.
Person to run it, or with the bucks?
A person with the money to back it. A person who knew what he was doing. I have a daily manager now who he knows what he's doing.
Who was that person then that you
That
found?
person was James Altoff. He's from Atherton. Very honest, professional businessman. He owned a chain of liquor stores in the country, and he's retired from that now. But that was a man coming in to do business. That man came up from poor like we did. He knew what we were going through. And he didn't need money. He stayed in there, he stuck with us, and he's the one that, he and his brother Don is the one that made that hall as prosperous as it is.
Are they still involved in it?
Don is still my daily manager. Mr. James Altoff, we recently paid him any monies that we owed him, and we solely own the business now. My tribe does.
So the tribe is not paying, no one else has a share in your profits?
No, they don't.
Or anything else?
No.
When did it become successful?
It became successful since 1991 when Mr. Altoff took over for me.
1991.
When he became our business partner.
When did you go out from bingo to, I mean, you're a full casino just like Nevada, are you not?
Yes, we are.
When did all that happen?
About early 92, I believe, we went into the video machines.
Which is a controversy which we'll get into a little bit later on.
Yes.
All right.
So then we took in, we can do cards. We do blackjack, but it's not house banked. We don't own the games. It's we have a player pool. That is not our money that's on that table.
Oh.
It belongs to the players.
That's interesting. I hadn't heard about that. We'll find out a little bit more about what goes on there, Margaret, in just a moment, or the folks will. So don't go away. We'll be right back.
You're watching Amador County's local television network, TSPN. And now back to Let's Talk with your host, Larry Cenotto. We
can continue our conversation with Margaret Dalton, the tribal chairperson of the Jackson Miwok Band of Indians. That's precisely, or almost the right title, I hope, Margaret.
It'll work.
This whole story is so fascinating. I mean, you failed 3 times. What made you go back and try again?
I knew I could make it if I had the right people in there.
So it was
operating.
It was just simply the first 3 times the wrong people, the wrong investors in it for the wrong reasons?
Yes, and they were not good business people, or they misrepresented their through their financial statements, and their backgrounds just didn't check out.
Do you have any idea how much was invested out there that these first 3 people lost in getting this thing off the ground?
No, I don't have a total cost of that. I don't have a total cost.
How did you meet these Altorfs that kind of had the answer for
Altorfs, they came into the picture. They were coming in to invest with another group. The other group's background was not up to par, according to us. So we chose Mr. Altoff as a single person, and we had to let the others go.
A lot of competition in Northern California, is there not? I mean, we do read quite a few Indian casinos spotted all over. What's the closest one to Jackson?
Sonora, Jamestown.
Chicken Flat?
Chicken Ranch, Chicken Ranch does not pose a big competition to us, but if they did, that's healthy. That's healthy business. And we don't consider any of our Indian casinos as being a competition. We want to see them make it.
Do you have any idea how many Indian casinos there are in the state?
We have approximately 21, 22. Approximately.
22. How many in this area? Isn't there one down by Davis someplace? Or?
There is one down at beyond Sacramento. It's called Cache Creek Indian Casino. We work hand in hand with that tribe there in different organizations. We all work together. In fact, statewide, we all work together. We put the internal controls. We all got together and wrote internal controls for all the casinos, and we all adopted the same controls as to how we should internally control our casinos. We each have a controller in our casinos that takes care of all the paperwork, but so we control ourselves in that manner.
It sounds like it. We'll explore that further, just how unregulated you are. How do you attract gamblers? How do you attract them? Who gambles? How do they get there?
Well, you know, I can't answer that.
No polls? You haven't taken any polls?
Yes, we have, but I don't know the extent of the polls.
Yeah.
I can't know everything, Larry. But anyway.
Most of them come by bus?
We have, I think, probably 50% of them comes by bus.
Now, who arranges for 50 bus fulls to come up to Jackson?
We have bus coordinators that fill those buses to come to the casino.
I mean, where are these
for
folks
bingo
come
days.
from?
As far south as San Jose. East, we have Lake Tahoe coming in the spring and summertime.
Who are they? Are they retired people? All ages? Who's
They're all
gambling?
ages. We find that they're all ages. People used to say this is an old person's. The bingo was an old person's game. Not so with the high stakes.
So casino, everybody's there.
Yes.
Do you think a lot of local people go out there and gamble?
Yes, we have a lot of local people come out. I don't know what percentage of them is local. We have taken polls, though, but I couldn't quote you, and I won't, give you some wrong information.
What are your hours and
24
days?
hours. 24 hours we're in operation.
So you're...
Bingo, we only have, we're trying to start up a fundraising on Monday nights, and we operate for ourselves on Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
I don't quite understand. Operate for yourselves.
Yes.
What, you mean all the profit goes to you and
Yes.
the other Monday
nights. Monday nights we're trying to get it going that any of our fundraising organizations that wish to participate, we will hold a bingo game and the proceeds will go to them. They have to help us advertise and help us work and work the floor. But we're trying to get that organized now.
So you're talking just about bingo, not the...
Just bingo, just bingo.
Not the open game. All right, we established it 1983 or 84. You started off with 100 by 200, 20,000 square feet with offices, 24,000. You say, what have we got out there now? I mean, if people haven't... You know, I don't get out there too often. We have chamber mixer. I don't gamble, but... My gosh, you go out there and look. I mean, you could play football. I mean, it's big enough. How big is this place now?
Well, you know, I don't know what the total footage is of this place now, but we did add on, expanded our card room, our video playing area. Outside the casino right now, we broke ground for a 60-room motel unit, which is very badly needed. So we're adding all the time. And if and when we ever do get a compact with the state of California or the federal government, we will be expanding our casino. We'd like to put a nice stage in there and bring some nice shows into the community.
Yeah, I was kind of wondering about... We'll touch upon this compact with the state, because that's one of the issues that we'll deal with a little bit later on. But how many times have you expanded? 3 or 4? I mean, it seems like you're always expanded out there.
About 4 times.
How many people do you employ?
In the casino, there's probably around 325 employees.
Is this full-time or part-time? Both, I'm sure, but I mean, is the major part of the employees?
Major part of it is full-time.
Full-time?
Major. And then we have full-time employment working, building the community. And we have about, well, let's see, we have about 20 employees out there, too. So we're close to 350 employees.
Other than Georgia Pacific, are you the largest employer in the...
I believe we are, private employer.
In the county?
Yes.
Are those generally minimum wage jobs?
Our minimum wage is $5. It's not the state of California's minimum.
But is that what most of the jobs would be, minimum wage, or?
Yeah, for a year. Then we progress them.
One of the things that we've heard about I'm here you've got all these people and all this money and all the rest of it. What kind of security force do you have?
I have a tribal police force of 21 people who are all retired police officers, highway patrolmen, Justice Department. So we have 21 tribal police.
They're all retired, so they're all
Yes.
older. They're all older men.
Well, some of them aren't retired. They left jobs to come work with us.
So they all are trained and experienced.
Majority is post-certified. Yes.
Their authority is what?
Their authority is within the boundary of the Rancheria. They work with the Amador County Sheriff's Department. They can make arrests, citizens arrests, but they cannot transport. So this is a, we're trying to get an agreement with the Amador County right now so that we can transport, because we patrol heavily for drugs, alcohol, which alcohol and drugs is not allowed on the casino premises.
What means do you use to try and stop that or check it?
They are checked, and we have cameras stationed in the parking lot, which where the majority of the using or proposed dealing goes on. And it isn't bad now, but the Sheriff's Department works along with our people very well, and we do not hesitate to arrest them.
Between 300 and 400 employees, can you give us some general idea of how many people go out there to gamble during a week, a day, a weekend, a month, whatever? I mean, what kind of numbers are we talking about?
I don't know the numbers, to be honest with you. I don't know, but we have about approximately 1,000 seats left for bingo. We had 1,500 before we started the video machines, and we cut into that. We got about 1,000 seats left. So I think maybe around 550 of those during a Saturday and Sunday bingo session is not unusual. So that's about the average. And then the casino's always pretty well full on weekends when we have around 300 machines. And I really don't know how many tables we have now. They've added a few. But those are pretty well full, too, in the evening hours.
I hear, and there's a lot of talk, obviously, that's really a moneymaker out there now. Can you divulge any gross profits or any...
No, I am not allowed to, because my tribal government asked me not to talk numbers with anybody except the National Indian Gaming Commission, who receives our audit all the time. And because it just drives people nuts when they hear numbers. And
but anyone interested can contact the National Gaming Association?
If it's public knowledge, they will.
You're not sure that it's public knowledge or not?
I'm sure it is public knowledge once it gets to them.
You make a lot of money. That's safe to say. All the profits are with the band.
Yes.
You're all pretty wealthy now?
Not individually. Are you wealthy because your county has a lot of money?
Reasons, but
no, we're a government.
So your nation or your band is pretty well. In other words, all the profits goes to the band, not to individuals, not to Margaret Dalton?
No, we don't divide up profits.
So how does the individual then benefit from the pool?
The individual gets a small dividend per month.
Oh, all right.
The rest of the money is built in building the community. We provide 100% medical insurance, dental, optical for all of our members and their children.
It's about 40, I think we established here.
And no, each individual, you don't split the pie here. It's a government function.
We've been talking about the casino. There is much more to the 330 acres than just the casino. What else is out there? Your members live out there. How do they live? What kind of a residential setup do you have?
Well, because of the profits from the casino, they are very comfortable. We put them homes there. They didn't have homes before. If they were there, they were in substandard little trailer homes. So we built them all homes. We built a water treatment plant. We built a sewage plant. All the roads are blacktopped. We built new roads to homes. We're building the community, and that's where the profits are going. Building the community and investing for the future of the children. Anyone who wants to be educated on that rancheria will be educated.
What is the motel for?
Motel is for the customers that's coming in. We'd like to offer weekend packages, plus we have people driving up. They stay there all weekend.
You have a community. I suppose you've got do you have your own sewage treatment plant, for example?
Yeah. Yes, we do.
Yeah. How about water supply?
Water supply,
Amador
yeah.
ditch or what?
No, we have our own water treatment plant.
Where does the water come from?
From artesian well on our land.
Besides the motel, what other plans do you have for expansion out there?
We'd like to expand the casino, not the casino itself, but we would like to expand and put a stage in for entertainment other than the gambling entertainment. We also want to, if our 60-room unit motel is justified, then I will put another 60 units in. Plus, we want to put a small convention center in, which our county really needs. And we need to capture a lot of those conventions that are going to Nevada through our own Native American organizations. There's no place to meet with large amounts, so we thought if we could keep them home, we keep our money home rather than sending it to Nevada.
We read recently, Margaret, I think that you purchased some more land.
Yes, we
next
purchased
to, I guess, your rancheria.
76 acres, which was all Miwok land. There's a lot of Miwok artifacts there. There's
I mean, historically it was Miwok land, but it wasn't in the rancheria.
No, it was not.
Yeah. Right.
But we wanted that land so that we can develop more of a recreational site there. A lot of the plants along the creek area where the people inhabited, we're still finding arrowheads there. So it was a heavily inhabited by the Miwok people in the early gold rush days, I'm sure.
I think we've pretty well established, and we're going to talk about a little bit more, that you're sort of a government unto yourselves on the rancheria. All right, when you go out and buy more land, does that authority, a jurisdiction, go on that land too? So in effect, that becomes part of your...
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. Right
so you're
now,
limited then on what you can do?
Right now, it's still fee land. We're paying taxes on it. Until such time as we get the federal government to put it into trust. Okay, so right now we're paying taxes on that additional purchase we did. But we want to get it put into trust.
Any plans for additional land purchases?
Not at this time. Not at this time.
This week on Let's Talk, we're talking with Margaret Dalton, and we'll continue that conversation in just a moment.
You're watching Amador County's local television network, TSPN. And now back to Let's Talk with your host, Larry Cenotto.
This week on Let's Talk, we're talking with Margaret Dalton, the tribal chairperson of the Miwok band of, or Jackson band of Miwok Indians, should put it. Let's talk about who regulates, Margaret, gambling or gaming on Indian gaming. Certainly it's different for other non-Indian kinds of gaming. I think you touched upon the National Commission earlier. What's this 1988 National Indian Gaming Regulation Act? You said you started maybe 83 or 84, so obviously this was before the Act, so I'm not sure what was regulating gaming at that time.
We still regulate ourselves. We regulate ourselves due to the lack of participation from the governor.
Aren't you under this National Indian Gaming Act?
Yes, we are.
Yeah.
But that has not been put in force.
Oh, it doesn't apply until this agreement is reached with the state?
They say it applies, then they say it don't apply, so who knows? We don't know for sure. Everything's in court. So at this point, like I told you, we had all gotten together and we have our internal controls done and we regulate ourselves. at this point, which we are very capable of doing.
You send reports off to the
commission.
But that's about it. I mean, they don't have people coming around.
They have people come. I invited them in. I had a speaker that is on the National Indian Gaming Commission. I had a speaker come to our hall to speak to other tribes. We are working with them. We have to send all of our background investigations through them to the FBI. So all of our background investigations are done through the National Indian Gaming Commission. And so we work with them whenever, whenever they ask. We comply by all the rules and regulations.
How does the Bureau of Indian Affairs relate to all this?
The Bureaus of Indian Affairs doesn't know where they fit in.
They're not really involved in the gaming part of it anyway?
Not to this point,
they're
no.
Not sure. All right.
No.
The 1988 Gaming Act we've been talking about here, and I'll quote, allows tribes to conduct any casino games legal elsewhere in the state, provided the tribe has agreement or compact with the state.
That's right.
This is what we've been referring to. There's no agreement with the state. Governor Wilson, Attorney General Lundgren, both fighting this compact or agreement. What's this all about?
I would like to know what it's all about, just the same with you. The only thing is, they state that we're illegal. We're doing everything that the state of California is doing.
I think, what are we getting at here? The slot machines.
They're not slot machines.
But I mean, this is what they say. I think state law says slot machines are illegal, and so somehow they're saying that the video machines used are slot machines.
Our video machines operate similar to the lottery, to your Keno, to the state's Keno. They're machines. So we don't feel that we're illegal. The governor refuses to even meet with us. The Attorney General has stopped a lot of state organizations from working with us because of who we are. I personally do not ever holler prejudice, but I think there's a lot of prejudice here, as well as they say they're anti-gambling. They don't agree with gambling, but yet the state of California is gambling.
Prejudice against Indians?
Yes. I feel it very strongly.
Wonder why they would be prejudiced against Indians.
Why not?
I mean, resent that you're finally making money, or what?
I believe that's it. I believe that not only the state, but a lot of the federal legislators feel like if we get power, we're going to do something with that power. We only want to get enough power to take care of our people. But every day we wake up, we have to go fight for something new. Something new that someone has regulations against us again. It's something new all the time. We're continuously spending thousands and thousands of dollars, just as the governor is spending thousands and thousands of your dollars, your taxpayer dollars, fighting us.
It's sort of I mean, you're using video machines, so even though they say it's illegal,
yes,
it's in court. I think it's going to the state Supreme Court. It's in a district court. Maybe it's going to be decided soon.
I certainly hope so. I would like to get this behind us so we can go on with our business, whatever it will be at that point. But it seems to me that the governor and the Attorney General's office are working around us, not trying to work with us. Every time we make a move, they'll block us. Right now, they're influencing the supervisors of Amador County because we've offered...
Tell us about that.
We've offered to put an intersection in for the safety of our community because of the traffic that we generate.
So you're talking about Bridge Road and New York Ranch Road intersection?
And right now, I've only heard through the grapevine, but I feel it's it's good information that Dan Lundgren has some kind of pressure on the supervisors not to deal with us.
Have you made a formal written proposal to the county that you will
Yes,
invest?
we were ready to sign an agreement that we would like to put this intersection in and dedicate it to the county of Amador. I don't want anything from the Board of Supervisors, but a little assistance in getting my land into the new land into trust.
In public, oh, well, let me not go over that. So you want to, people would see that, well, here's a, you know, a quid pro quo. I'll scratch your back, you scratch mine. So you're saying that we'll help with the intersection, and supervisors help us get this new land you purchased
Into trust.
into trust?
Yes.
And what does that mean again? If you get the land into trust, then you can have gambling on it?
That's not what the plan is. We don't plan to
No,
have
but
gambling.
could you? I mean, could people say, they just want to expand their gambling empire?
You know, at this point, I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't think the Gaming Commission, I think they would block us from doing it if that's what we were proposing to do. But it is not feasible for it.
All right. The issue about the video machines, apparently that's the only issue. Everything else seems to be going all right, but they consider them slot machines. Let us suppose that the Supreme Court or some other court, I think there's 2 courts, say it's illegal. What would you do?
I'll continue operating until they close me down. My cadre may, you know, keep us above water. But we're going to continue to fight for our rights.
Would your association, I suppose, appeal it to the U.S. Supreme Court?
We will not give up the fight until we come to the very end. I mean, it's livelihood for our people, for our communities. We have done a lot in our own community. And we have provided the jobs that the governor should be providing for his constituents, rather than using all that money fighting the Indian people.
Some people may say that they're just, you know, Lundgren is quoted as saying it's a flagrant violation of federal and state law, and like that anybody was doing that, whether they were Indian or not, that they would be fighting it. But you think maybe they're saying, well, who else is doing it besides, only Indians can do it, I guess. I mean, you're the only ones that can do it, can't you?
That's right.
Yeah. Let's turn to this business. You referred to the intersection, that you wanted to do this work for various reasons, and also some help from the supervisors. Kind of brings up some interesting questions about the influence of Indian casinos. Apparently a lot of them are making a lot of money.
True.
They are investing it. They are contributing it. Again, I'll help you. I mean, the time-honored system that we have, you know, so it isn't like only the Indians are doing that. You brought up the one example.
Let me state something right here before we go on. The white man taught us this way of business. The white man taught us all this. The Native American give, and we don't expect anything in return, only that you give to others. Use what we give to pass on to others. That's our culture.
Okay. Let's talk about some of the things that you're doing with your profits. Not all of us going to the band because you're spreading it out. Give us some examples of the way that the band has been spending money locally.
Well, we've been donating to. We have over $65,000 donated to different, especially youth-oriented programs. Our school system, we've donated a lot to the school in different clubs and different classes that go into the schools.
This is cash.
Yes. We've donated, well, for instance, we've donated 2 computers to the Ione Elementary School. They were in need of computers. We've donated as small as computer paper to the Jackson Elementary School, to a copy machine. Those are things that our youth need, our kids need.
A lot of involvement in the fair.
Yes, we have a lot of involvement in the fair. We're very proud of the Amador County Fair. It is the best fair, I believe, in the state of California. And they work a lot with the youth in their programs. And we want to be involved with the fair.
Have you contributed money to the fair? Is that even legal to contribute money to a state thing like that, or have you just invested it, or how have you?
Nobody told me it's illegal.
Yeah.
We've helped the Amador County Fair because the state has cut their contribution, and we're helping them right now. They're going to be renovating a new building, so we're helping guarantee their loan so they can get the loan to renovate one of the buildings that's not being used right now.
Recently, a teen club, I don't know its exact name.
The Spot.
Spot closed,
Mm-hmm.
and I understand that the Indian band was a major investor in that and probably lost quite a bit of money.
Yes, we were. We were not looking to make money off. I know there's no money in that type of program. What we were looking for is to provide a place for the youth of Amador County to be able to go where alcohol was not provided. You can keep the drugs out, make sure security's there. But it did not generate enough money to go on its own, so the board of directors chose to close it down. And the youth, I was always having the youth come to me and saying, gosh, I wish we had just a little someplace of our own to go. But when it was provided, they did not go. What the reasoning for it was, I do not know. I didn't ask any questions. We only helped provide some funds to try to keep it going. And many of the prominent citizens in the community did donate or buy shares in that, and they did not lose heavily. The Rancheria lost some money, but it didn't hurt us. So that's where it's at. So we provided a place for the youth, but the youth did not accept it. So.
What is this fur and feather exhibit area for rabbits and chickens? Is that another fair?
You know, when I spoke with Ralph Clark, he told me that they were going to provide another area of display, and, you know, I don't know if he meant fur jackets and chicken boas or what. But anyway, I understand it's another exhibit area for their rabbits and chickens and such. I'm not actually sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure Ralph will be able to explain it better than I could.
Any other examples of community investments or gifts?
It's not investments, it's not gifts, we call it sharing. I have a special fund set up that goes for fundraising organizations, that we try to help them. In Calaveras County, we've provided their school with some monies because somebody stole their monies that they were going to replace for their library. We've helped Native American groups throughout the state where the youth is involved. We've helped DQ University, which is a Native American university. And we try to help organizations, especially with their youth programs. So we work with them hands-on, plus we try to help provide funds when it's needed. We will not pay any administrative costs. Any monies that we donate must go directly to benefit the youth of that organization.
What kind of association do the Indian casinos have in California?
We have in California, okay, nationally we have the National Indian Gaming Association, which works under the National Indian Gaming Commission. It's made up solely of Native American people. In California, we have the California-Nevada Indian Gaming Association. And under the umbrella of the Nevada Indian Association, we have Tribal Alliance of Northern California. We refer to it as TANC, to which I am vice chairperson. We try to get all the Native Americans groups from Northern California involved in our struggle to get bills passed, and we have to travel around the state and around the country to different meetings and such to keep up on what's happening in Indian country federally and statewide also. And we try to help each other. Since I'm already this far along in our casino, I help other potential casino builders to do the things right, because I know all the wrong things to do, but now you can't fool me very much because I've learned the hard way.
Are there some more casinos about to open somewhere in North
There are
California?
people been talking. There are people been talking, but I don't know that it's any further than talking yet.
Yeah. You have your own lobbyists, full-time paid lobbyists, lobbying the legislature and Congress?
Yes, through California and Nevada Indian Gaming Association, we do have our lobbyists.
Mm-hmm. What legislation are you working on? Since this whole thing is in flux and is in court, everything at a standstill?
I think everything's standing still now. No one can decide where to go next.
Mm-hmm. All right. There are certainly some issues in Indian gaming and other things, and we'll come back with our concluding segment with Margaret Dalton in
You're
just
watching
a moment.
Amador County's local television network, TSPN. And now back to Let's Talk with your host, Larry Cenotto.
Our last segment with our conversation with Margaret Dalton, the tribal chairperson of the Jackson Band, the Miwok Indians. Margaret, I think we've pretty well established in a lot of ways you're an empire unto yourself out there. You're not regulated by really hardly anybody directly. One of the areas people kind of wonder about, I suppose, is your development. Now, we've talked about gaming and the Indian Gaming Commission and various other things, but as far as development, you're talking about a hotel, you talk about a dam, you talked about building all the houses for the members and what have you. Isn't all this basically unregulated? You can do what you will or want?
Well, we basically do what we want in the end result, so we do give our plans to the Bureau of Indian Affairs. Our central agency has plans of what we're going to do.
Before you construct?
Yeah, and we have inspections from the federal government.
Bureau of Indian Affairs?
Yes. We have inspections. Anytime I need somebody to inspect that I'm not sure of, even though I trust my foreman and our workers, if I'm not sure of it, I will call them and they will send someone to me.
I suppose it's natural for the county, maybe at least privately, to grouse that those people are doing anything they want to out there and there's no regulation at all, and meanwhile just across this line here everyone else has got to do this and do that. And have you heard much of that from...
Yes, I've heard a lot of that. I can understand, but we're doing for ourselves what the federal government should have been doing for us all along. But yet the federal government, the state government, and the local government didn't give one. They didn't care that we sat back there in poverty level. They never offered us a helping hand to get us out. So now that we're prosperous, then everybody notices it, and and I can understand some jealousy.
All right,
but there's nothing I can do about that. I'm doing for my people.
All right. You're building a motel. You have to file an environmental impact statement with anybody?
When we cleared the land, yes. Yes, we did.
When you cleared the land?
Yes.
But it's for a specific project. So the EIR was for the whole 330 acres?
Not for the whole 330 acres. Only for what we're using at the time. What we're doing at the time. And Bruce Baraka, one of our local people, is the one that did some work for us.
Who are the local people that are sort of entrusted then with your building out there? Because they don't have the county to look over, but yet I'm sure they have their own standards. You have standards. I mean, can the people feel that, or is it any of their business, in effect, that how you're building on the...
I can really say it's none of their business, but we have reputable people within the county to see that things are done right. We have people that work in your communities every day and probably have worked for the county on occasions. So we try to employ the people within the community to do the things that have to be done in good quality fashion.
Who's your major builder, for example, or contractor, or who's in charge of building out there?
Okay, I have Jack Tracy, who is our neighbor. I put him in charge of all the construction. We sub everything out. We have very reputable people working for us. All the surveying is done by Mr. Steve Brown, who's been very influential in the community. We have Woolen & Sons, who have a very good reputation. We have Johnny Burgess, who has done many jobs for the county. We have so many good people. We try to get our own community people working on this project, and I always tell them, you know, I want a good quality job done.
You have the money, so there's no reason why you need to
That's
cut
right.
corners,
That's right.
is there? I've talked to a couple of these people, and they say, well, because there's no regulation, they could probably build for maybe 2/3 of what it would cost somebody else outside.
That's true. That's true.
You don't pay school impact fees, for example.
No.
You pay any taxes out there? You pay sales tax? Any kind of taxes?
No. What we do pay is employee taxes.
Withholding for Social
That's
Security.
right. And, of course, we have our gift shop, and that's sales tax. Anything we purchase for our rancheria, we don't have to pay sales taxes on it. We file a form with the state of California that we don't have to pay as long as it's delivered onto the rancheria. So that's why I think I've given more money in the community to community organizations than we would have paid in taxes.
No real estate taxes.
No.
So actually there's no money,
No.
except for the sales tax, the county share,
That's right.
what have you. There's really no tax revenue coming off.
That's right.
But you're providing all the jobs and all the other benefits.
I think we've been a big impact on the community, providing jobs. We've taken many people off welfare. We've helped community programs. We've helped individual indigent families that have needed help. Whether it's just to buy groceries, we'll do it. I mean, we're not, just because of organizations, we're not only helping organizations, we help individual families also. But that's in very strictest of confidence because it's no one's business who we help.
Let's talk about some issues, if we haven't already. Gambling itself is always an issue. Read an editorial in the paper this morning that Sacramento Bee said, well, I think maybe it's time for us to reconsider the state lottery. It really hasn't done what it set out to do, and maybe all in all it's a negative thing rather than a positive thing. So people always, a lot of people, some people, think that gambling is a negative thing.
It could be. It could be. I'm from a tribe of gamblers. Our Miwuk tribe is a tribe of gamblers. Gambled from...
You talk about hand games?
Yes,
Indian hand
that's
games?
a form of gambling. We're all gamblers. I didn't want to get into the gambling business. It scared me because of all the horror stories I heard from Nevada. I didn't want to get into that, but it was the only thing we could rely on to get us to where we're at today. Yes, gambling could become a problem, but one thing we try to help out with is we do not serve alcohol. So everyone who comes in there is fully aware of what they are doing. We're not getting them drunk and they're spending thousands of dollars unknowingly, and that's what Nevada does. Nevada will fill you full of booze, so you write another check. We don't do that here.
You know, people
So they're
against
fully aware.
Yeah, people against gambling.
I can
always
understand that.
say that all people on Social Security or what have you, and they go out and they spend all their money gambling, and you know that type
We
of
don't know who
sad
these
story.
people are because we do not cash Social Security checks. We do not cash welfare checks. We will not do that. If a person comes in with a welfare check, we turn them down, and so they don't bring them anymore. They started to in the beginning, but that is one thing that takes the food off the children's table, and we will not allow that to happen if we have any control. But we don't control people's lives. We run a business. If they want to come there, fine. They can even come there just to socialize. They come. There are widows and widowers who come and meet each other. They'll sit at our bingo tables and play cards together. They don't have to spend any money. We're not a regimental place that they can't come in if they're not going to gamble. They come and sit in the lobby and talk. That's fine. Fine with us.
Any direct evidence that Nevada gaming are fighting the Indian gaming in California all the way?
Yes, there is evidence. It's hard for us to get playing cards for our card games now because Nevada has put pressure on the card companies. So we can't get playing cards. And I believe that Nevada is putting pressure on Dan Lundgren and our governor because Dan Lundgren is putting pressure on us. They're stating that we don't control ourselves, but they're disallowing us the chance to better our controls because they disallow us from participating in any classes or anything on the outside of the reservation that deals with gangs and task force working on gang-related subjects. They disallowed us from attending any of those. Like I said, the card companies are being pressured. There's a card shuffler. We had to take it out because they no longer could let us have it. Oh. Now, this is all Nevada pressure. All Nevada pressure. And they just don't fight a fair
fight.
Fair fight here.
How do you keep? You've implied in the past that some of your investors were on the up and up, or whatever, in your early days. How do the gaming places keep the criminal element out?
We have very extensive background investigations, which we do ourselves from in-house with the Gaming Commission, the National Gaming Commission. I have an in-house investigator who is the head of the investigations department for Jackson Indian Casino. We have a surveillance department.
What does he investigate?
He investigates backgrounds, personal backgrounds.
Of people who what? Just gamble there, or?
No, people who are employed there.
Employed, okay.
Employed, yes. From all services, not just upper management or anything. Everyone who comes in there, their backgrounds are checked. Everyone who comes to work there must have a drug test. So we do this all on our own. No one comes out there and said, you had to do it. We did it. The Gaming Commission now works with us. We were doing it before, but now we get a little better help with the Gaming Commission being involved. So now all the backgrounds are checked through them. And then we do much more because the FBI reports don't give you everything. They may miss some things that, should be in.
A few months ago, one of the Indian gaming places contributed $25,000 or something to the Sacramento Symphony, and instead of being credited, they were sort of criticized because, hey, you're trying to buy influence. We touched upon this a little bit. Is this a big concern of yours that people are going to misinterpret?
It's not a concern to us. We know, we're smart enough to know that when we contribute, people are either going to be jealous that they didn't get the contribution, or they think we're doing it for our own purpose. We don't need to do that. We really don't need to do that at all. We want to give to our communities, bottom line. And I really don't give a damn what people think.
Let's talk about some feelings. You kind of showed one there. There's a slogan for some cigarette company. I think you've come a long way. I won't say baby, but
That's right. You can call me baby anytime.
You've come a long way, ma'am. Looking back, and I knew you when, and you described the conditions, pretty poor, but working, striving, but still pretty darn poor. And now, things, you're talking about going to a cruise. Well, that doesn't mean much, but, you're doing well.
It means a lot to me. My tribal government is sending me on a cruise as a bonus for all my hard work, and this is the first time, and hopefully not going to be the last.
What are your feelings? You have come a long way. What do you feel?
I still eat and sleep and breathe the same air everybody else does. I am no better than anyone. I'm not higher up. I'm on the same level with all my employees. We work together. They don't work for me. They work with me. I don't feel any different. I still shop in Kmart because I like Kmart. I don't shop ritzy. My people give me a good salary, but I spend it on my grandkids. I'm not I'm not a rich person. I live comfortable now. I had my old house renovated. I wouldn't be comfortable other than where my husband left me, and that's where I'm going to stay.
More respect now? You got a lot of money, a lot of clout?
I don't want people to respect me because of the money they think I have. I want them to respect me for just being me. I want to work with them. I do want the community to rally around and see the drug alcohol problem we have in this community. And this is what we need to fight.
You think this whole Indian gaming business is finally social justice, that the Indians are finally able to do something for themselves?
Most definitely. We are able to do now for our people what the federal government or the state would never do.
I think they tried for a long time, but it didn't seem to be too efficient. The Bureau of Indian Affairs has spent millions of dollars over the years, at least ostensibly, to help the Indians, but hasn't it worked before gaming?
No. No. It did not work.
What's next?
It helped, but it did not work.
What's next for the Rancheria, and what's next for Margaret Dalton?
Well, hopefully Margaret Dalton will wake up tomorrow. I'm getting old. I'm training my vice chairman right now, which is Bo Marks, to take my position in case I should decide to retire or outvoted or whatever. But I just go from day to day. We have plans, but I need a little enjoyment right now, so I'm going to go on that cruise and not worry about any of you back home.
Margaret, thank you very much
for
being with us on the
Thank you very much.
Enjoyed every moment of it. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for staying with us again on Let's Talk.
Let's Talk is a Tom Slivick television production. You're watching Amador County's #1 news and sports leader, TSPN.